but the creative language that is it's in a simplest form for them to understand, because there's a huge gap between the politicians, how they operate, and how our creatives works. And there's always a problem whereby politicians, they always want us to understand their language, but they fail to accommodate us in understanding our language. And they think probably maybe they are in our industry. I just don't know how they operate. And we are trying now to find a way to say, what kind of a language can we speak to make politicians to understand? It was very discouraging to find out even that bill. It was signed without or outside our knowledge. And the reason why artists had to go back and fight for that cap, the copyright amendment bill, to really go back to the president table and say, can this be revised? Who agreed that this must be signed without our permission as creatives? Do you realize how many lives are going to be destroyed? So coming back to your point, the G20 can be our biggest solution, because I think South Africa will then learn how Americans are doing it. They will then be able to have an opportunity to learn how the Europeans are learning, are doing it. And if you look at our industry, the biggest issue is it's not legislated, it's not regulated. And the reason why we see creatives are all over the place. We die like paupers, we die poor, mainly because there is nothing that regulates us. The reason why the government doesn't really take us into consideration, yet we are working so hard. Believe you me, South Africa is buzzing because of creators. South Africa is well known out there because of amapiano artists, the filmmakers that are making real stories. I mean, you look at the likes of some of the actors that are really making waves in America. It's because of the talent that we have. But then can we then come back and say, president, politicians in the offices, provincial offices, provincial officials, can you really take us serious? Understand where we are coming from, understand how much more we can do for South Africa to be one of the top countries in the world with what we are doing. We don't have to be Americans or be like Americans. We don't have to imitate anyone out there. We've got this special, unique identity as South Africans. We just need to be understood and be accommodated and be supported.
Eva, what's really interesting that you say about not having to be of a different, I suppose, national foundation somewhat doesn't translate. And I'm saying this because if you think of movies that try and mimic an American stage, they tend to catch the crowds more. You know, the accents that change, you know, the artists that start off in South Africa or in the African continent and are big and then head off into the Europes and the Americas of the world, they seem to garner more traction. And to an extent that then leads to brain drain. What do you make of this? And by that, I mean, what kind of solution can we propose, not just to government, but to artists to say, it's okay to be authentic. It's okay to stay true to you and not morph into someone else in order to attract the very many crowds?
Well, you know what? A lot of people say that, but I totally disagree with that. And I'll tell you the reason why. Let's go back to America. Tyler Perry, for instance. Tyler Perry has always been focused on his product. And he has managed to sell the Black American culture very well. He never blinked on that. And has he not succeeded? He has. Now, what is trending in the world, obviously everybody will follow. But that doesn't mean that is the perfect product. No, it doesn't mean that. They have just managed to, conquer the world in terms of accessing the market, selling the product excellently the way they do. And the reason why everybody will follow the trend just because it's out there. Now, South Africans, if we were to do the same, I'll take an example with Tsotsi. Tsotsi, made it to the international stages, in the film world. And if we had actually taken the example of Tsotsi and we followed the trend, don't you think we would have been far as South Africans? And I'll come back again. Americans, they're always interested in our stories. Europeans are always interested in our stories. They tried and did the movie about Mandela. And instead of taking South Africans, people to better roles. They then went and took Americans. But now here's the thing. Whose story is that? Isn't it South African story? It is a South African story. Let's look at some of the actors that are now in America. I just forgot the lady's name, the short one. She has made... Exactly, Tusombedu. Look at the characters that Tusombedu is playing. To be honest with you, she resembles our African culture in majority of the movies that she's playing. And that tells you how important South African stories are. But the only thing that we are lacking here is the support. The only thing that we are lacking here is someone to come and open our eyes that you guys have got gold. And this gold can actually make the world to tremble if only you focus on it. But now, how best can we do it if our own government is not really paying attention? How best can we do it if the agencies, the funding agencies under the Department of Arts and Culture, they're not really pushing the African mandate? So we will end up following the world's trends. But then that, honestly speaking, it's not something that is representing us. Yet we are... I don't know how this thing, it frustrates me. Yeah. We need organizations. We need organizations that will really advocate on behalf of the creatives so strong and never be ashamed of it. You know, I come from the Free State. I never went to the white schools. But I work with Americans. I work with the white people. And I'm never ashamed of the fact that I can speak English very well. Listen, what's important here is the product. I've been to Europe. I've been to so many countries. And I've never blinked on being who I am. And people loved that. So we just need to create those opportunities where we can educate our young ones as well to say, come up with African stories, but now let's help them to take the stories out there. We've got TikTok exposed to us. We've got all these other social media platforms that we can utilize. I mean, look at TikTok, for instance. TikTok is really buzzing with South Africans. If you look at the number of people that are utilizing TikTok and are really entertaining the world, it's South Africans. That's where you see the crop of creativity on TikTok. But now, is there anyone who is guiding everyone from South Africa who's on TikTok about intellectual property? Unfortunately, so many Americans, so many Europeans are actually taking the very same content of South Africans that are on TikTok and making money out of it. But now, who is educating people on that? So it's very, very, very sad. And that's why maybe you can hear that I become emotional when I talk about that, because really we need a serious change. We need even our portfolio committee within the parliament to start really to stop personalizing things, to stop fighting for nonsensical things within the parliament. Let's try and start addressing things that are very serious. And that is why SIGA is here. But it can't just be Eva. It can't just be Atama Fugati. It can't just be Rudolph or Debza, only the people that are really advocating. We need to come as organization and stop fighting against each other as leaders in the industry, but really focusing on the seriousness of what needs to happen. And I love what the new minister has done, even though obviously he's got his own ways of doing things. But the fact that he has given us an opportunity to come up with our own sectors and being able to, try and enhance the policies that are thereof. I love the route that he's taking, but I'm just hoping, because they are politicians, I'm just hoping that the proposal that we've made, that these sectors, can they be prolonged for the longer period, so that at least within the 5 years that we are asking that he gives us, we can be able to regulate the industry. The NAVF, the likes of your NACs, we really appreciate the work that they're doing, but there's still also challenges within those funding agencies, things they need to be changed. NAVF previously, obviously, they used to accommodate a lot of productions that we were not really favoring, but I'm glad that now they are giving us the chance. We never used to have these kinds of events. It used to be like strictly the skills development training where people are sitting in the room, it's workshop, but there was never a freedom where we can say, can we come up with a master class or a workshop that is slightly different, but looking at the world, so that at least if we try and educate people, we also prepare them for what's out there, not just in South Africa, but also in the world.
Eva, you made such an interesting point to say that you have collaborated and worked alongside very many nationals from various parts of the world, but you remained true to you, and they appreciate that. I think just on the subject matter of buy-in, do you think that perhaps the lack of buy-in from government is an intrinsic issue? Not necessarily the cluster of government, but government consists of people. And maybe the reality is that we as Africans just don't believe in ourselves enough, is the truth. You know, we don't have enough faith within ourselves. And this is sort of what we then permeate throughout our spaces of leadership into the ground. And it sort of becomes the culture where anything but Africa is amazing. Don't you think that's the case?
Yeah. You know what? I always make this example that when you grow a child takes from what the parent teaches them. A child mimics what the father does, what the mother does. So the same thing in our leadership structure. As citizens from our townships, from where we stay, we look up to certain people, and these certain people, they are role models, our leaders. So our government, there's so much corruption. Now, if you were, as an official from the government, teach someone who is looking up to you something, you need to start asking yourself, how am I leading? You know, that's where we need to start. So with the creative industry, honestly speaking, we have lost hope, Sheila. We have lost hope on our politicians. And let me try and break it down to you. The creative arts sector, from the local municipality level, there's a budget that has been given to the cultural officers to ensure that they develop arts within the townships, within the marginalized areas, you know. And even in the urban areas, there are municipalities that are actually representing those urban areas to ensure that the arts is developed everywhere. But now you ask yourself, do artists know about that? Now, without artists knowing about that, do the very same officials that are being deployed or employed, I will say deployed because everything is about comradeship on that level, right? Do they even know the importance of them sticking to the mandate of developing the arts? The reason why now you see a very high unemployment rate, because why? Even our young ones, they resort to crime because the very same budget is being utilized for other things. It's not being utilized for the right reasons. Now let's go to the provincial level. The provincial level it also has its own mandate. But now you look at these departments, they don't give artists much access to their programs. They decide on their own as to what kind of programs they need to come up with. When you go there and ask, how many artists are actually benefiting from your programs? How many artists are you giving them freedom to decide how you need to manage them, how you need to accommodate them? Because remember, you guys, this department, it exists because of us. If there were no artists, this department wouldn't have existed. So, meaning we are your service providers. You're supposed to really be taking care of us. And we're supposed to be guiding you because we are artists. You are just, some of them are just mere people who went to tertiary level. And we appreciate that. They got the education, but it's theory. They don't understand the struggles that we are going through as artists. So that for me, it's very sad. Now, let's go to the national level. The national level also has its own mandate to serve the sector. But now, recently, artists were crying about the minister who's not listening to them. They have submitted the memorandum with that is full of so many challenges. Have they been responded to? No, they haven't. And now, ministers, they come and go, and we're still standing in the same place. And I'm just hoping that this time around it's going to be different. So we have a very, very serious problem in South Africa that government is not really paying attention to the creative arts sector. And it's so sad that we're actually contributing at least plus minus 60 billion rands to the GDP of this country. But yet you ask yourself, why are we not why are we not improving when it comes to employment rate? Why are we not improving when it comes to the capacity building in terms of skills development? Why are we not improving in terms of business development within the industry? Why are we not improving when it comes to the economy? Any matter that has to deal with economy, why are we not included on those conversations as the creatives? So I'm just hoping that the G20 is going to be different. I'm just hoping that there will be a specific committee that we as the sector, we will also select by ourselves, select the people who will sit there and advocate on behalf of this industry. Because right now, as we speak, I am telling you, there's a gap between the government and the creative arts sector. And it's not going to take us anywhere if we don't do anything about it.
Let's talk about some positive news. This groundbreaking initiative happening between June. I know that the end of June all the way through to the end of August, if I'm not mistaken. Walk us through the dates. I know that you'll be in Gauteng. You'll also be in the Free State as well. Walk us through that.
Well, I'm very excited about this upcoming event, and we really want to say thank you to the National Film Video Foundation for supporting the initiative, and as well as the Lifestyle League. It's an online channel owned by Mr. Arthur Mafugate and his team. So we are very much grateful. I mean, there are other companies that are coming on board to really support the initiative. So it's going to be taking place on the 28th and the 29th of June, starting in Gauteng. We were supposed to be implementing the event initially at Germiston Theatre, but because of some unforeseen circumstances, we have moved it to Midrand at the plot. The plot is in Caswald in Midrand. So on the first day, we're going to be having masterclasses focusing on the subject, film and television subject, But then we've also added some other special sessions, sessions like career and business development. Anyone who has the company and really wants to grow, we are going to accommodate them. But then also we're looking at the learners, young people that are unemployed or young people that are still at school, but then they are actually looking forward to say when they finish matric, they want to venture into this industry. So that's why we're going to have that career and business development. And then we're also focusing on the funding application session. A number of creatives, they are always taking advantage of the opportunities that are availing themselves within the industry to apply for funding. However, the problem is majority of them, they get rejected because they are being told that you don't apply in the right way, this and this. But because we are focusing on NAVF, we are going to take the applications from NAVF and take them through step by step. So next time when they apply to NAVF, they don't have to be really asking too many questions or being rejected and so forth. And then the other element that we are adding is the AI. We are aware that the world is moving very fast, and we can't really be behind as South Africans as well. So the AI thing is going to be something that we're going to be focusing on. The digital migration, that's something that we're going to make a priority as well as part of the program. And then the other fourth element is the mental health. The mental health subject, it's mainly to assist our artists. Most of the times, we go to churches, we go to all these sessions where they preach about mental illness, mental health, but they just preach. Nobody tells me that if I'm a creative and I'm going through stress, what's the first step that I need to take? So that is the kind of practical session that we're going to be having on the day. Now, the second day, we are then going to have panel discussions. And with the panel discussions, we are having a conversation about the intellectual property. We are going to have sessions about commissioning, licensing, and then we're also going to talk about the legalities within the industry as well. And one of the major things I think that a lot of artists are looking forward to is that, are there any opportunities? So we are looking at the institutions that are offering opportunities. We are looking at the companies that can come on board and offer opportunities. But now, what is the key thing here is that the collaboration that we want to create between the creatives and the private sector. So we've invited a couple of private companies to come on board and also to explain to them what kind of opportunities they can create within their companies. Because we've got we've got so many companies, they've got the CSI budget, but they just don't know how to invest it in our industry. So we want to try and simplify the conversation for them and show them the opportunities where to invest within our industry. And then lastly, having the government officials also is the very same conversation that we want to have with them, that you are there to serve us. Now we've got the issue of our artists that don't have, the experience within the industry, but then can they also work in your departments? And we can be able to guide them as SIGA, where to place them within the departments, just so that they can get work experience. But also as the government, can they be able to direct, especially public works? There's so many internships and learnerships that are being offered. NYDA, there's so many learnerships and internships in that department. But then the creative arts sector, they're only being given a fraction. But now we also understand that maybe it's through the lack of education, lack of knowledge, and they don't even know how to accommodate our sector. So that's the kind of conversations that we want to have, so that at least out of this platform, we can then say there's a program we're going to establish. Now we have given you the enough reason to be able to support it. Now from Gauteng, we're going to move to the Free State in Sasolburg at Zamdela Community Arts Center on the 25th and the 26th of July. And then in August, the 29th and the 30th, we are back in Midrand at the plot. Now on the 29th and the 30th of August, it is going to be the biggest event ever, where I think it might not even take 2 days. Probably maybe we'll take 5 days, because we just want to develop it nicely so that we can have enough time to teach even our artists so many other things that are outside, because we are now looking at that event as something that we can utilize to introduce even the G20 projects that Gauteng is trying to introduce as well. So many partnerships we are looking forward to. Exhibitors, they will be available, or the exhibitors rather, they are welcomed, but only on the second day of the event. When I talk about the exhibitors, we are focusing on only people within the multimedia, not just film and television, but the multimedia in general. So we're talking people that are doing podcasting, photographers, journalists. So if you're a makeup artist, you do participate in the film industry, because you do our makeup when we go on TV. If you are doing the wardrobe and designs, or can set designs, you also form part. So you can come and exhibit your businesses. And if you are a graphic designer, you are the one who's helping us to do all these designs looking beautiful and so forth. So you are also part and parcel of the multimedia sector. So we will have this beautiful exhibition just to also show people that when we talk about multimedia or film and television, there's the kind of exhibition that we want to expose to people, not just this thing of people just talking and then that's it, we going home. So yeah, I'm hoping that we're going to have a beautiful time, and we are also inviting you. You have never been to our events.
I love that, Eva, putting us on the spot. We would love to be there.
Please do. Okay, even if you don't come this time, but then at least Free State, people want to see, SABC Channel Africa. And then also on the 30th of August, if you can be there and just share your experience, we'd really love to have you there.
There are a few questions that are coming in this evening, some statements in actual fact, just tracking back to the policy framework, where the speaker, among many other comments, said a memorandum is a legal document. Give the minister a time frame to respond. If not, take them to court. And then a text coming in here from Africa_Mbambata, who says the industry lacks unison and is very tribalistic, and not to mention egotistical. And then the speaker goes on to say, most important aspect, mental health, something that you touched on, and we absolutely love it that you touched on that. And then a question comes in from African Mbambata, who says, no intervention for artists suffering from drugs, gambling and alcohol abuse. I know that would be within the frame of mental health. How will you be delving into that specific question, though?
That's a very good question. So I forgot to mention that on the second day of the event, we're also looking at departments like social development, Department of Health, and we're also going to be looking at the Department of Community Safety. Especially the Department of Community Safety. Majority of our creatives, they don't know actually that Community of Safety, they are responsible mainly for our protection. And also they have programs that are focusing on GBV, focusing on the issues of drugs, substance abuse and so forth. So we are going to bring them on board, because these are the things that we really suffer from as artists. But we are very much more interested in coming up with solutions, because I have been one of the ambassadors for the Department of Community Safety. I have worked with the Department of Health as well, in terms of their campaigns. So as much as we can have the Department of Health as a solution for their free services and so forth, there are some other extra services in terms of mental health that really need special attention. So we are looking at the private sector that can volunteer to help us. So there are some private companies that we've invited, and we also ask them, can they please, just volunteer to give some of our creatives free services? Because some of these things you can't get them from the public hospital. You can't get them from the Department of, maybe let's say, Social Development. And sometimes it takes time to get all those free services from the department. So this is one of the most important subjects that will be included in our program. Hence, I said earlier on that our program is going to be unique. It's going to be outside the scope, because as SIGA, we love doing things differently.
And lastly, Eva, your hopes for this industry, not just for the context of South Africa, but the continent. I want to hear what your dreams are, because we've spoken much about what currently exists. We've spoken much about the issues. We have spoken about the glimmers of hope. I want to know what your full-scale vision is for the film and television industry.
First and foremost, starting with home, I would love, and I'm appealing to the Minister Mackenzie, that as much as majority of us, we feel like we are not happy with how you operate, but just know that we do appreciate the fact that you've given us a chance, to start on working, to start towards actually regulating our industry. That is the most key thing, because if our industry is not regulated, or if our industry, we are not working towards that journey, there is no way that we can be confident to go to G20 and represent South Africa abroad. Now, my 5-year dream or 2 years dream, I don't like putting 5 years, because I'm a creative, right? I would love to see our policies changed, and any international relation policy that we have, I would love it. I would love to see it favoring every creative in this industry. If the government can really work on this issue of the corporate amendment bill, the corporate performance bill, and let's just piggyback on what the Europeans are doing. I mean, Canada is really succeeding on this issue, and I think they have won the case. So if only we cannot be seen as enemies, but be seen as people who want South Africa to prosper, I would really appreciate that. And then lastly, I would really love to see major collaborations with these countries that are so big out there. I think the likes of your Mbetu, they have paved the way. The likes of your Trevor Noah, they have paved the way. So let's go back to our people who are in those countries, and let's also find an advice on how to penetrate those countries. But now, when we penetrate those countries, let us be authentic. Let us come with our own South African signature, or even African signature for that matter. Let us not change and become Americans to please Americans, but be true to ourselves. And I think that's how we as South Africans, and creatives in particular, we are going to conquer the world, in making sure that South Africa can be sold in the right way. South Africa, we can be able, through the creative arts sector, be able to market the minerals, the resources that South Africa has. We are the weapons, we are the instruments to ensure that the investors out there, when we speak with our beautiful voices, when we sing with our authentic voices, we are able to attract those investors to come back and invest in our country. So let us not compromise, but stay true to ourselves.
Very interesting there, Eva. You touched on a point, in actual fact, a statement made by Africa Mbambata, who says a rebranding of the industry is needed. It needs an identity. Yeah. And I think you spoke to us being authentic, being real, and telling our real stories, and of course, supporting one another and coming together. Eva, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the time.
You have taken taken so
appreciate it
much
as well.
time with us. It is 4 minutes after 11. You stayed up. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much, and may God bless you all.
The voice of board member of SIGA, also known as the Cultural and Creative Industries Guild of Africa, joining us this evening, Miss Eva Nteso, quite passionate about African creatives and the spaces in which African creatives can thrive, really creating room and environments, and this happening through one of these groundbreaking initiatives that's set to take place from the end of June all the way through to the end of August, and we are looking at Gauteng and the Free State as being part of the cluster of cities that will be hosting this initiative. It is almost 6 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African time. Let's get into some music. When we get back, we're going to be reflecting on a conversation we had with none other than Mimi Mtshali.
The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
Madzuka kwanji nonse Zukani, the Shy Guy, a Morning Switch.
Have you ever listened to a song and then it gives you goosebumps? Cause it takes you way back in the 80s. My goodness. Yay. Woo. Hey baby. You hear Yvonne Chaga Chaga there. I wanna talk to the DJ. And then the DJ goes like, hey baby, I've got you on the other side. Huh? There were no WhatsApps then, right? There were no sliding in the TMs at the time. Oh man.
Your weekend mornings are activated with the Shy Guy on the Morning Switch. Africa's very own think tank. This is Channel Africa Online. www.channelafrica.co.za. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. Music, love culture, love life. Because you on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Heartlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it.
14 after 11 p.m. in Central African time. We kick-started off the double play with Ida Mulaka, and that one titled Ialela. And just after that song, we had a beautiful one coming in by Mimi titled Goodbye Loneliness. And in actual fact, Heartlines had the pleasure of catching up with the soulful and ever-inspiring Mimi Mchali. And we talked all things music, her journey, her sound, and the magic behind the remastering of her 2008 debut album, Essence of My Soul.
Today we're diving into the rich...
With some love, the Heartlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa.
Of course, this was many years ago during her varsity days. And listen, if you haven't guessed it already, I'm going to help you. Mimi Mchali is my guest right now. And she has, for many years, been synonymous with a lot of depth, in her vocal prowess, a lot of grace, a lot of musical excellence. And a few months ago, she actually made a return with the remastered version of her acclaimed debut solo album, Essence of My Soul. And many memories come to mind when we think of that one. Of course, when she released that one, she was, just fresh and young and just excited about producing her own music. So, exciting news is that she's going to be gracing a stage for one night only performance at Hard Rock Cafe in Johannesburg. She's going to give us the details for that as we really talk about her journey in music. I'm very excited about this performance because I can already predict there's going to be a lot of emotion, a lot of energy, and unforgettable live music. Mimi Mchali. Mimi, thank you so much for making time to talk to me. I'm so excited to talk to you again after such a long time.
Hello, Matsiku. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that beautiful introduction. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, and so deserving. I really want us to talk about, because I didn't get an opportunity to talk to you about remastering Essence of My Soul. Big project. Mm-hmm. Really powerful themes of romantic love come through in there in a way that just resonates with so many feminines, including myself. Big themes of God's love, So let's talk about memory. Let's talk about when that album came out.
Well, yes, that album actually came out in 2008. So, yes, it has been quite some years, I understand, So it has become in the years more of a classic now, as we look at it, a timeless album, that just keeps giving, over the years. And I was glad when I had the opportunity to first record my album. As you mentioned, I was fresh out of university, and that's very daunting as a young student who just finished studying jazz, and you're actually trying to find your sound, trying to find your voice, in a world where people have already made their marks or where you kind of don't know how you will be received, So it was quite a daunting task, but I'm so glad that I had the right people surrounding me. Firstly, I had a great producer, Mdu Mjali, who helped me through that process. Yes, we wrote songs together and we were able to sit down and pin them down and record them in the studio. So when the first chance came for me to record, we already had these songs that we were working on at the university, over the years. So songs were already there. So the time came, when the time came, we were already prepared to put down the music.
That album, I have to always kind of reprimand myself because I've got to put it down now. And I think mine must have a hole in it because I'm always playing it on repeat. It's such a powerful album. And as you mentioned, a lot of the music is so timeless. I want to talk about remastering an album because I think, and I've seen several people asking you on your social media platforms, you know, when you first announced that you're coming out with a remastered version of Essence of My Soul. You know, what does remastering mean, and particularly for this project, and why did you decide to go that route?
I decided actually to remaster the project because I don't know if you can remember, or most of the people can remember, that I had issues with having my music in stores, or the availability of the album online, you know, because I had issues with the person that I was working with, or the person that I partnered with, you know, let me put it that way. So we had some issues and we had some disagreements, you know, which were not really beautiful, so much that we ended up separating, not in a very nice way. So now I didn't have any ownership of my music. So that meant that I couldn't record any more albums after that. That's why it took so long for me to be able to record the second album. And that's why my music wasn't available for people to be able to access it, you know. So now that meant over the years, we reconciled. We were able to reconcile, and I was able to get that ownership of my music, which is the master copy of the music. So I didn't go back to the studio to re-record the music, but I took the master that I did, and then I put it back, it to be remastered, so that it means biffing up the sounds, you know, so that the engineer will sit with the master and remaster it again in terms of the volume, in terms of the sound, and bringing it up to standard to where we are right now, because it's been recorded a couple of years back. So now we wanted to bring something fresh for people because it hasn't been available. So we also added a bonus track. That is why we needed to add a bonus track, so that it's called a remastered copy. So that's what it meant for me.
Okay, that's quite a journey. And I'm so glad to hear that you've taken ownership of the hard work. And just to segue into you having recorded this album and now having regained ownership, which is, I think this is just such a beautiful story to tell in terms of where you are with the work at the moment, because it remains evergreen. I'm excited about, you know, just the title, Essence of My Soul, because you really did give us a glimpse into who you are. You know, you really launched yourself with the themes that are so important to you, unity, togetherness. Africa Hlanganane is becoming such a big one at the moment. And the debut track, Goodbye Loneliness. I mean, it's just the memories that come to mind for you and some of your favorite pieces. I know this is like saying, please pick your favorite child. But talk to us about just the themes in this project.
Yeah, absolutely. You've nailed it. For me, it's a glimpse of who I am. And definitely these two albums that are already out, you know, beginning from Essence of My Soul, they're an extension of who I am, you know, an extension of my sound, you know, so that's what I always try to bring, you know, but I think the very core always for me of my themes, of my songs, is always writing about love, you know. I always love writing about universal, global love, you know, the love for my country, is, as you spoke about, Africa Hlanganani, and I also touch on a song that I wrote for my late mother as well, which is very special to me, and a song that I write for my relationship, that speaks about the relationship that I have with God, you know. So all these different themes and about love in this different sense talk about what love really means to me in a deeper sense.
You know, when I listen to that album, because it's always on repeat, like I mentioned, I enjoy your exploration with languages. You know, because there's a bit of Sesotho, there's English, there's isiZulu, there's Portuguese. I mean, please talk to me about that, because I think also it's so beautifully done, and you know, you're not only singing in those languages for the sake of it, you are also celebrating. Language is such a nuanced thing, so I hear the celebratory elements in how you execute this music, and I love it.
Thank you for always playing it on repeat as well. I appreciate that. For me, you see, I don't know about you, Mateko, but for me, I grew up in a community where we lived next to different cultures, where you learned about different cultures, because you had Sotho people living next door, you had like Tsonga people living on the third house, and you had a Sotho speaking person, you know. So you kind of picked up all these languages because we'd play together as children, you know. So that translated into me writing in all these different languages, because we have 11 official languages in South Africa, if I'm correct, if there's nothing added. So for me, it's important that I celebrate that, you know, because there's this universal love that is there, these languages that we have, the rainbow nation that we have. So for me, that's always important that I delve into that. And also later after that, I worked with Tuken, and Tuken is a mixture of people coming from different spaces or parts of the world, you know, from Mozambique. The leader was from Mozambique, which they speak Portuguese. And I tried to learn a bit of Portuguese while I was working with them, because that's also important for me.
Right.
Muriel also, who's the co-leader, is from Argentina, who speaks Spanish, you know. So all of those are influences, you know, for me, that I wanted to bring into the album, of the different influences of the cocktail of languages and styles of music that have influenced me.
Oh man, so beautiful. Mimi, we are talking to you also during a very important month to commemorate here in South Africa, Youth Month. And there is just so many things going on. We are mourning the deaths of women due to femicide, young women. And also just other young people. I mean, you also serve in the space of teaching and passing on the baton of music to other young people and young women. What is your what is in your thought catalog at this time, with so much going on during Youth Month? What message would you like to share?
It's very sad, you know, to look at so much of the violence that is going on around us, young women. We're losing our young women, our young kids. It's very, very sad. I think I want to encourage our young kids to always stay strong, you know, in the midst of these problems, and for them to never stop dreaming. It's important that you never, ever stop dreaming, you know, and work towards your dreams, and never, ever think that there's ever limits to what you are dreaming, because there's never limits to what your heart sets out to achieve. So I want to say to them, they must keep working hard. God is out there to open up doors, and their hard work will take them very far. Working on their character, working on everything will take them very far.
Mimi, thank you for that. And not just for this message, but just sharing who you are online. You know, I watch you often, and you've always just got a message of hope to share with humanity. Just through, and you use your voice just how it was meant to. You sing, but you also share the messaging when you feel it in your heart and in your spirit. So thank you so much. I love you so much, and we will see you on the 12th at Hard Rock Cafe. I'm so excited. So thank you so much. We'll be watching closely, and we can't wait for the new music that's going to be coming as well.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for this opportunity as well. And I love you too. And I feel your love, and I appreciate it all the time. And thank you for this. Blessings to you and love.
Heartlines. Your late night window into Africa's deep conversations.
We go loco Luna on the beat.
Ntwana kamba azithwala isistrata ngenamba bajabula abantu banika into yabo bathambe vananga nakusasa akuthi sama kuyabanda kuyafana le counter is up enye into engakhathali kanakana matala money can fuck up the glory, I already know. Don't gotta tell me your story, I already own. Billion, I don't do it just to sit on the throne. I'm already goat, hey, I'm already goat, hey. Click, click, big bang, damn, everybody dead. They had us buried in the desert. Niggas was hating their reflection, but you know heavy is the head. Now these niggas gotta pay me for repairs. Cause this shit bounce, and and everybody dead. Azilime zejet, singabheka eceleni, asiphindele smell, siqede intelezi. Bathe ngakhali vele embelekweni, awuzekethe lento ngincele ebeleni. Good God gracious, Guluva Guru the greatest, Kangato elevated, hooked on fame, and then they pretend to be saviors. Kanti basithanda endabeni, so now ungathatheki, ngashayashayeki, ngabaliswa imiliyoni ngamasheleni. Saqala endlaleni, akunanto engapheli, but nami ungangithembi, sengifaze kaningi. I got in a coupe, into engana roof, then got on the roof with no parachute. Ngawa ngesilonda kwaphela amaphupho, nongishaya isilolo wambekwa amaphupho. Twana ngisibhayi, angidlali ngemali, kasi for life. Yeah, I'm a lion, a pipe in the mouth till I swallow my pride. Nglaymakasana, and we never say die, we multiply. Yeah, but ngiyadlala, well that's alright. Don't pay me no mind, I got money on mine. Yeah, twana gamba. Asithwala isistrata ngenamba bajabula abantu. Banika into yabo bathambe vandaga nakusasa. Akuthi sama kuyabanda kuyafana, the culture is up. Enye into engakhathala, kanda mata. Money can fuck up the glory, I already know. Don't gotta tell me your story, I already own. It's billion, I don't do it just to sit on the throne. I'm already gone. I'm already ghost.
I'm already boggling. I can see them all switch up their antics. GMG, bro, watch out for the stampede. Dirty work, but I still keep my hands clean. Too much sauce, I should open a canteen. Get on stage and they scream like a banshee. King of Kuza, Bakuza has landed. Chilla ain't tryna make way. Tell them guys they calling they brave. I'm a big slime, I see green in my veins. Stabbed in my back, but I still feel no pain. Like bro, is you not entertained? I got sidetracked, but I never changed lanes. Now you hear this and you can't say the same. Came from the dirt, but I washed out the stains. Vision got blurry, I'm wiping my frames. But it's no problem, I'm doing the most every day. Celebrate, take some shots to the brain. I guess good try it, get it to get to the top and then watch everybody feel strange. We had a plan and shit out from beginning to ending to watch it all happen, it's crazy. I had to tell all my youngins that's coming up, this shit gets spooky, it's never just daisies. And how could you lose all your patience? Niggas cannot even faze me. My spot at the top is just spacious. I got go seduce. I can spin back feeling good as it foods. Speak about me, that's free promo, got news. Keep your eyes open, that circle is doomed. I don't gotta say it, they know it, get booze.
Heartlines, connecting you with Africa's love culture into the night on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
Confession, 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 my confession, confession, good confession, confession, started as a one-man squad, panic on jelly reach my front, any day go shot by shot, I wanna do this shit all night longer, the plan not to chop lock up. My God, he don't begin to python. The way she they treat it, my fuck up. I know I see doctor. See, I got a confession. I got a confession. I got a confession. I got a confession. I wanna tell you my confession. You don't know you be my obsession. This thing you do me not the mention. Don't you see that I am all messed up? Confession. Listen to my confession, no. Listen to my confession, no. Yeah, confession, that thing where you show me, oh. Where you show me. Where they do my body, so. Where they do my body. I dey wait you for artillery. Make you come show me the mathematics. I don't know why I be acting like this. I be you giving me arthritis, so yeah. I just wanna know if you love me back. I don't want you loving another guy. After the first and the other time, I lost my mind. I know if you sleep for night. See, I got a confession. I got a confession. I got a confession. I got a confession. I wanna tell you my confession. You don't know you be my obsession. This thing you do me not the mention. Don't you see that I am all messed up? Yeah,
34 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African Time. Omalay with that one titled Confession. Before that, Questa coming in alongside Blackie with Ghost. Welcome to Heartlines. Shayla and Dikumana still with you, and I'll be keeping you company for the next 26 minutes. Let's get into more talks on music. Now, women's musical practices in Africa reveal the complexities, contradictions, and conflicts that are characterized, or rather that characterize the life of an African woman. The African woman is neither a victim or a heroine. Ruth is an African woman, a music practitioner, and an ethnomusicologist. She immerses her experiences with a woman's musical group in Nigeria to reveal the identity of the woman.
I am an Igbo, Nigerian African woman, a singer, a teacher, and a scholar. I have been defined in many ways. As a victim by mostly Westerners who thought I needed to be rescued through colonization. And as a heroine by many African scholars whose intentions are to correct the way the African woman is being represented. But who am I really? I am an Igbo woman with a unique identity, full of complexities and contradictions. Igbo is one of the largest ethnic groups in Nigeria. The term Igbo refers to a geographical region, Ala-Igbo, a language, Asusu Igbo, and a culture, Omenala Igbo. We have a strong sense of identity. Igbo society is patriarchal and gendered, evident in their daily lives and culture, from art to music, occupation, and religious activities. I would like to tell you about a group of women musicians I admire. Obiwuro to Women's Dance Group, a group of mostly married women from Ihiagwa in Imo State, Nigeria. These women use music and dance to create a workable space to negotiate traditional gender norms, neither overturning them nor capitulating on their work. Music is part of their everyday activities, with intersections between music and gender, patriarchy, solidarity, motherhood, and class in Igbo culture. These women reflect and challenge the double narrative of the African woman as a victim or heroine. When I was a girl, the sound of music of Obiwuro to Women's Dance Group filled the air in the cities and villages around Owerri, Imo State. This was one of the people's favorite music at the time. Because of the sonorous singing of their leader, Chief Rose Nzurike, their captivating rhythm, and their use of music as a medium for social commentary. Although there are women's musical groups in mostly all the villages, it was not common to hear them over the radio. At the cities, the audio turntable record and the cassette recordings of their music were played at home and at the streets by cassette hawkers. As a girl, I saw men and women move to the rhythm of this music and also joined in singing whenever they had it. Wani mobidia, ijelu bigi yoma, ogolimaro bidiale, ohona guayakama. At the villages like my maternal home, Okorata, this music had a unique effect. The villagers, who were mostly farmers, acknowledged Obiwuro to Women's music whenever they had it. Men shook hands and nodded in agreement to this music. Women occasionally stopped and did the hip wiggling that characterizes Obiwuro to Women's music. Children mostly watched in admiration. My shy self mostly watched in admiration and danced when no one was watching. To crown their efforts, Ihiagwa community gave their lead singer a chieftaincy title that was not common for women at the time. Women also played drums that were primarily played by men and became role models for other women. Although gender expectations were controlled by Igbo norms and values, There was a certain degree of fluidity in their performances. These women were popular. They were regarded as heroines. They are my heroines. Just like Obi wrote to women, I might think of myself as a heroine. I have a talent singing that paves ways for me. I have a PhD, and I managed to get scholarship for most of my education. I have been called strong because of my doggedness. Most of my professors tell me they are proud of me. Many women say I inspire them. I have been described as a true heroine. But what is missing is the agonizing battles I, Obiwuru Timiwen, and many African women go through in this journey of being heroines. Although women can attain social status through music, they are still confined by societal norms and values that sometimes victimize them. Obiwuru women struggle to negotiate gender roles on a daily basis. At a point when they became very popular, Ihiagwa community nominated men to guide them, as it is believed that women always need male guidance. They are constantly excluded in libations and kola nut rituals, a prayer and ritual performed in Igbo culture to welcome visitors, usually done before any of their performances. As Igbo society practices outcaste, Osu and Diala, a culture that sees some people as inferior, outcast women among them suffer discrimination. Igbo society also values married women with children, especially the male child. Childless women among them are insulted, always. Today, their lead singer is no longer alive. They no longer have a good singer. As a result, they're no longer invited to perform all over the country. They have limited fund, musical instruments, and their community support has declined. Getting to be Dr. Ruth Opara was a treacherous journey. I was threatened to lose my job in Nigeria if I came to further my education in the USA. I have had horrible experiences with people who have power over me. I lost my student visa for 5 months because I worked for 22 hours instead of 20 hours as an international student. Despite all the challenges, I, Obiwuru women, and many African women have continued to adapt to a changing society. Adapting to situations does not necessarily make us victims or heroines. Obiwuru women create songs to accommodate both religions practiced in Igbo land. Their song lyrics revere both the Christian and traditional gods, two spiritual beings seemingly in opposition. As songs have function in Igbo culture, the audience may determine how they perform. During funeral ceremonies, the audience may request for Obiwuru women's songs that are not necessarily funeral songs. Obiwuru women's music is a traditional music that incorporates elements of popular music. Their adaptation of the harmonica, a Western musical instrument, shows their openness to new musical cultures and ideas. These women also advocate for adaptation in their song lyrics. They persuade married women to have children and also take good care of their husbands. Arguably, women are writing and singing lyrics that promote patriarchy. However, they mean well. They understand that there is a systematic patriarchy in Igbo culture and have decided to help women so they can have good experiences in their marriages. It is overly simplistic to reduce the life and experience of the African woman to one side of a dichotomy that portrays them as either victims or heroines. Such simplification undermines our achievements and does not adequately represent our struggles. The best way to represent the experience of the African woman is by carefully examining how she adapts to unique situations. The African woman is one with a unique identity, full of complexities, contradictions, and conflicts, often defined by society, yet changing over time. Thank you.
When the sun goes down, we don't stop the talk. Channel Africa, the best nighttime radio.
This is my place. This is my space. I was here first. Ooh, grab a seat, get comfortable. This is my place. This is my space. I was here first. Ooh, grab a seat, get comfortable. Did I suffer for another woman? Did I endure pain, inexplicable pain for another lady? No, baby, I'll be damned if I walk away just to let her have a taste of your love, my love, real love, built on my tears, pain, sweat, and blood. No, I'm never giving up. No, I'm never letting up. So I'm holding on, no letting go. So baby, grab a seat, get comfortable, 'cause this my place, my space. I was here first. Ooh, grab a seat, get comfortable. I call dibs on what is mine. She can't have you. You're my life, can't you see? I know we aren't meant to be, but there is something inside of me, and it won't budge, stays in my head. My patience is thin as a thread. Baby, don't test me. Oh, baby, don't test me. Baby, don't test me. You know I love you. I'll always be there for you. This is my place. Baby, this is my space. I was here first. Oh, grab a seat, get comfortable. Ooh.
I say I don't so far.
Heartlines bring you fresh perspectives about love after dark. With Sheila Dukumana.
Baby, now the way that you talk and the things that you say, where they make I feel alright. And I got your vibe anytime that I look in your face. Tell me why you look so fine. Baby girl, I see you. Wanna ride you like a bicycle. Now you they blow my mind from a mile or two. And I no go lie, you light up my day. And when she tell me my love, It's you love, baby. She don't want the Gucci bag or the Fendi. Yeah, she give me butterflies in my belly. Ooh, love. And when she tell me my love, it's you love, baby. If my heart's drowning, baby, she gon' save me. Yeah, she give me butterflies in my belly. Ooh, love. Your love is crazy, girl, your love is crazy. You amaze me, girl, you amaze. All the girls them only really want to play me. But when me there with you, I realize love don't cross my mind. Your love is crazy. You amaze me, girl, you amaze. All the girls them only really want to play me. But when me there with you, I realize love don't cross my mind.
Best indeed, you're the best indeed. When I see you, I feel blessed indeed. Only you bring out the best in me. Loving you, it be my destiny. Oh no, I don't know if you love me like I do. Now you dey light my fire too.
I want you to tell me my love, it's you love, baby. She don't want the Gucci bag or the Fendi. Yeah, she give me butterflies in my belly. Oh love, I want you to tell me my love, it's you love, baby. If my heart's drowning, baby, she gon' save me. Yeah, she give me butterflies in my belly. Oh love, your love is crazy, girl, your love is crazy. You amaze me, girl, you amaze me. All the girls them only really want to play me. But when me there with you, I realize love don't cross my mind. Your love is crazy. You amaze me, girl, you amaze me. All the girls them only really want to play me. But when me there with you, I realize love don't cross my mind. Yeah, my baby, love don't cost no dime. Love don't cost no dime. Always stand there for you, know I'm there one day.
51 after 11 p.m. Central African time. Love Don't Cost a Dime. That by Magix and Aria Star. Before that, LeBianca with My Place. It is 9 minutes before the show comes to an end. Just a reflection point. In the very first hour, we explored a game-changing initiative for Africa's film and TV scene, the National Filmmakers Workshops launching in Gauteng and the Free State. Miss Eva Nteso from SIGA shared how the partnership with the NFVF and the Lifestyle League is equipping young creatives with skills, networks, and tools to thrive in a fast evolving industry. We then closed off with some soulful conversations with Mimi Nchali, reflecting on her musical journey and remastering of her debut album, Essence of My Soul. And then, of course, we end off with that reflection on music, where a woman from Nigeria who came into the scene really sharing with us some wisdom, some wise words of counsel. She is a music practitioner and an ethnomusicologist, and she echoed the strength, complexity, and creative power of African women in music. Time for us to touch base with Morris Touch, who broadcasts from Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. Morris, how are you doing?
Shell and Kumana, how are you doing, girl?
Listen, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you.
What comes up on the Afro Republic this morning?
You know, yesterday I wanted to highlight something to you, but the good thing is that it is a continuation. I was maybe you can actually share your thoughts as well. When one takes a very closer look at music, the creation of music and the formation of musical outfits back then, the idea was to come up with a band and produce music as a collective. Whereas now the whole game has changed and we are seeing a very individualistic approach to making music, which I think sometimes has actually diluted our sound to something else. We are not getting as much creativity as we used to get way back then. Do you agree with that line of thought?
I'm sort of on the fence with it, Morris, and I'll say this because as much as collectives do churn out more levels of creativity, you have less people releasing music, so it's not overly saturated. I see those points. However, I do think we are seeing more creativity with every single song. There's a dance challenge. There is some lip singing challenge. And I think that keeps us stimulated. As much as it is shortening our attention span, I do think that we do see ounces of creativity flowing from various spaces because of the levels of music that are being put out there. I think maybe the question for me would be, how authentic is the music? Do we still have music that's authentic, that truly speaks to the African continent and its people? I think that's where my head space is, my train of thought is.
I hear you, and I appreciate your thoughts. I'll still need to get more thoughts from other quarters as our show progresses. Basically, that's what the show is looking at, and you will know that the soundtrack to that conversation will be fantastic music that tells a very clear story of who we are, where we're from, and where we're heading to. Thursday, by the way, we are just stepping out of Wednesday and we're getting into Thursday. We do take you way back into time. We throw back, we bring you music from yesteryear, which as well could be the point why we had to go back and look at music from yesteryear as far as today's topic is concerned. Otherwise, that's Afro Republic for you this morning, tomorrow morning, 12 midnight to 3 a.m. Central African time. That's in about 6 minutes time. It sounds very weird, eh?
Absolutely, Morris. That's you telling me, Shayla, it's time for you to leave now, please.
Your time is up, your story has been told, and I can safely confirm that it's been told to the satisfaction of those that follow your show with so much passion.
The voice of Morris Touch of the Afro Republic, like he said, in the next 5 minutes, in actual fact, he takes over from the team and I. It's been a pleasure keeping you company until tomorrow. Cheers.
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Heartlines with Shayla Ndikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tamengubene talks money. Africa in Business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Heartlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voice.